Hey, welcome to Bar Z. My name is Stan. I just was going to do a quickie update for this week. I guess we're up to update 8, possibly. I think that's where we're at with it. So I was going to talk about some incoming I had earlier this week. I got a package on my porch when I got home. I was expecting it. It was from Adam over at Palmgrin. And we've been sharing some emails back and forth. And he said he had some micrometers, and he saw I had some up on the board, 3-inch and up mics. And he sent me some very nice mics. I've got they're all number 226. That's a 2 to 3 Starrett mic, barrel type with the ratchet. And Adam, I can see your problems you're having over there with that humidity, with the surface rust. I've started polishing one of them with some double aught steel wool, and they polish up really nice. It comes right off, but God, you just must fight that stuff all over your shop with that humidity, trying to keep the corrosion down. But anyways, he sent me a 2 to 3, and then he sent me a 3 to 4. Starrett, same thing. And actually, they all have the same model number. It's a 226. This one's also a 226, even though they're larger in size. So I believe these went to like a set. Anyways, those are both 226s. And here's a big one. Boy, Adam does like his big stuff. That's a 5 to 6. This is probably the biggest I'll ever use. And this will get used very rarely. And again, it's a 226. So those can actually, you know what, those can actually come off the board. I think all that's left out that I need out of the set now is, I think I need a 4 to 5. I'll be set. That's a 5 to 6. So yeah, I just need a 4 to 5. So I'm going to put that up here. 4 to 5 mic. So if you've got one to sell or trade, give me an email. Email's right up there. I'm interested. I'll buy it. I'll trade you something for it. Whatever you like. All right. But now at this point, I am looking for this model number, 226, so they can match the rest of my set. I think it's big, isn't it? Look at that. Okay. Adam, thank you. And for those of you that don't subscribe to Adam's channel, get over there. His handle is ABOM79, ABOM79. Go over and see what he does. He does some really cool stuff. He does some really big stuff. Way bigger than I ever do. Big cylinder work and big rods. And it's really cool to see that big work happen. So go over there and see him. Adam's pretty cool. Give him a little grief and tell him Stan sent you. Okay, so that's that. Again, thank you, Adam. Next up was last weekend. This didn't make it into my video last week. Last weekend, late, I attended an auction. I drove quite a ways for it. It was at the Navy base down in San Diego. And I went down there for one thing. The headline for the auction said, precision measuring equipment. So I had to go down and check it out. And I bid on these, and this was pretty much the find of the day. This is what I was looking for. This is a set of Weber gauge blocks, grade A's. So I'm guessing that's like a lab grade, but these are grade A Weber gauge blocks, also stamped Starrett. Last calibrated in 2007. I'm not really sure how you calibrate a block, but I'm sure they just check them. But these are dated, the date of manufacture is 1962, and last calibrated in 2007. So that was my big auction reason for going right there, was the Weber gauge blocks. So I got those. But while I was down there, you know, I couldn't resist. And this was, they had pallets of machine shop stuff. And they gave you about 15 minutes to go through it. And when I say go through it, you weren't allowed, you could open a box, but you couldn't dig through it. You could lift a lid and look into something, but you couldn't go through it. If it was covered, you could lift the cover and just look at it, but you couldn't dig through the pallets. I spotted a couple of things in a pallet that I wanted to bid on, and my pallet weighed 520 pounds for my skid. It was just a 4 foot by 4 foot skid, and I was the only bidder. You know, the bid went up. I put my finger up, sold, boom, done, and you know, you just kind of hope you get something cool in there. So they loaded it for me. They brought a forklift over. I paid the man. They forklifted it in the back of my truck. Basically, I paid scrap price for a pallet full of stuff that you don't know what you're going to get. So it's kind of fun. And you get it home and start digging through it, and it's just a big grab bag. There was some metal cases, a few metal toolboxes that were sealed up very nicely. This was in one of them. It was the Machinery's Handbook, volume 11. And I've got the newer version of it. And this is just cool because it's kind of vintage. In the cover, it says, to Harold David from Dad. M.L. Struck, S-T-R-U-K, Struck, January 28th, 1966. So if you know Harold David or an M.L. Struck, this might mean something to them. If not, I'm going to keep it. But if you do know these people, let me know and maybe we can get it back to the family. But great book, and it's just fun to have an older one here. My newer ones, they're a little more condensed, but you know what? They haven't changed much over the years. You know, nuts and bolts are still nuts and bolts, and gears are still gears, and not much has changed. So everything's pretty much stays the same throughout the years. So that was cool to find in that pallet. Also, there was some reamers. I'm gonna cut here. I got all the reamers laid out on my on the tailgate of my truck. I don't think there's any sound to the video. I just did a quick pan around of all the reamers that I got on the tailgate of my truck. There's some are spiral flute, some are straight flute. They're all adjustable. I offered them to Tom, see if he had any interest in them. He said no. I talked to Adam in an email, and he said he's got a bunch of reamers, but he always wants more. I might put these on like the tool exchange program. These will probably be available to whoever, if someone needs them, just to borrow them and send them back or whatever. But here, let's go to that little video clip and you can see what kind of reamers I got out of that thing. So these are some very large reamers. I'll kind of stick my hand in there so you can get some scale. And very sharp, and they all have an internal arbor to expand them, or expanding bolt in them. And some have some bad rust on them. But the cutting surfaces, each one was individually wrapped in a rag. They've got all these spiral flute adjustables. And then they've got a bunch of straight flute adjustables. And like I say, each one was wrapped in a shop towel and in that metal case right there. And these are all fixed. Some are spiral and some are straight cut. And those aren't in very good shape. But these big ones, if someone can use them, gosh, I know they're really expensive to buy. So if anyone's interested, blast me off a PM. And we're back, and that was quite a collection of reamers, isn't it? Anyways, here's another one. There on that skid, there was a 5-gallon bucket, and it was full of drill bits. Some were salvageable. I got some nice big Morse taper drill bits that cleaned up real nice, and so I got a pretty nice set of those. I got about 20 or 30 Morse taper 2s, various sizes. But down in the bottom of that bucket had water gotten in it. About the bottom 8 or 10 inches had gotten water in it. And all the way down in the bottom of that bucket, I found a heavy cardboard box and it had the metal edges that were crimped, almost riveted. You know, the old time 2-piece boxes. And I'm thinking late 60s, somewhere in there. So I got down there and I was able to read the box, barely. And I mean, it's submerged, it was soggy, it was nasty, and inside it was just rusty as hell. And it was just rusty, nasty water. I mean, by the time I got done, I probably needed a couple of tetanus shots. So I got down, I got into this box, and there was one word, very large, that was legible across the top of it, and the word was Palmgrin. And I'm going to show you what was inside that box. Now, this has been, it sat in a muriatic acid bath for 2 days to boil the rust off of it. It's been polished with gray Scotch-Brite and cleaned up and repainted, and just general cleaning, and kept derusting and cleaning and derusting and cleaning. But this has never been used. And I'm going to read the side of it. This is a Palmgrin number 20, made by the Chicago Tool and Engineering Company, Chicago, Illinois, USA. And look at the bed of that vise. Take a look at those jaws. There's not a ding on them. Now, I can't call this brand new, but this thing was still in the box down in the bottom of that 5-gallon bucket, and there's not a mark on those jaws. Nothing. No notches, no drill press marks down in the bed of the vise. And this thing is, I mean to tell you, it is just tight and nice. I mean, I wish you could feel it. It's just a wonderful little drill press vise. But that was the big find. You know, you never expect to see that down the bottom of a 5-gallon bucket. But and I was very pleased to get this. There were some other things in the skid. Bunch of breaker bars, and there was a set of 4 Hillman rollers that were in pretty good shape. And I wanted another set of Hillmans. I got 3 sets of them now. This was a 10-ton set, so it was a nice set of skates, and just some there's some wedges in there, some steel wedges that we use for wedging up machinery, and just various stuff. And it was all heavy, old stuff. A lot of punches, a lot of pry bars. Everything in there was proto, and all vintage. So I was pretty happy with with my score over there, even though all of it had to be derusted and cleaned up. I spent the last few days in the evenings just cleaning up old tools, so I was pretty pleased with that haul. But that Palmgrin was my big score, and I was real pleased with that. So I thought I'd share that with you. Moving on to the week's work, we had good progress over on the job, and everything's up and running. Conveyors running, booths are running, ovens up and running, and we've done our break-in on the chain. We've done all our paint touch-up, pretty much cleaned the job, and we're waiting on parts hangers. And the customer has pulled the trigger on me building the parts hangers for him, and the rotators, and there's some shields he wants to keep the overspray out of the overhead track. But let's go visit that job site real quick. Okay, and then the oven is basically on standby right now. The exhaust system is running and the oven's in standby. This little reflector right here, that little IR sensor, is going to sense a door as it passes down the conveyor line. Now I'm going to simulate that right now. I'm just going to put my hand in front of the IR sensor, and the oven's going to start its cycle. And there goes, that's a quartz oven. And they're all pulse controlled and temperature sensing and all that stuff. This oven's in 3 zones. You can see the first, second, and third stage of it. initiated it, the active time, it starts a timer, and the oven will shut itself down if no new door is detected. And then it's got the actual conveyor status here, and we don't want to cook parts, so if we were to shut down the conveyor status goes to off, and we've shut oven down. And it'll pretty much pick up right where it left off. If I go back to my e-stop and restart that, conveyor status is on, and we're baking again. So that's the way that thing's set up. All right. And the only thing left to do on the oven is an exhaust pipe, and the boys are up there right now. They just cut a roof opening for that little 8-inch duct. Try to get a shot of that. A little bit of glare. Anyways, 8-inch duct, 14-inch hole. You have to create a fire clearance for a hot stack. It'll get a fiberglass wrapper where it punches the roof so we don't transfer any of the hot air or the heat to the actual building. Here I got a dummy door on a hook. That piece of cardboard is simulating a piece of sheet metal that's going to get made. There's sheet metal discs that actually go in there, and those have to get made up for every one of those hangers there. But the system is touched up. Spray booth's done. Wired, lights burning. Spray equipment is installed. Those are air-assisted airless. 55-gallon drum. That is a paint elevator. That's just an air cylinder that elevates that lid. That's a little air motor that runs an agitator, so that it keeps our paint stirred up. That unit there is a paint heater that raises the temperature of the water-based paint. These are the pumps. One's for primer and one's for paint. And we've got the control panel open here. These are using Eaton VFDs. That one there's for the conveyor. The big drive on the left is for the air makeup system. And there's the front of it. And there's a scale right there to tell how fast the line's running. You just use a timer, use your cell phone or a stopwatch to clock the conveyor speed. And conveyor speed is adjusted right here with the speed pot off the VFD. But all we need now is doors hanging on the line, and that's in the shop next week. We got to get the hangers made, those dust shields we got to make, and a couple other little parts for him. So yeah, that's it. All right, but she's all wired and ready for doors. Thanks for watching. Okay, and we're back, and I guess you saw that we had one door just mocked up, but all the rest of those hangers had no hooks on them. Now I brought the hooks back with me back here to the shop, and these are those hangers you saw up there. So it's got 4 dog bones coming off of it, and there's the hook. And what we have to do on the top of this thing is we have to drill and tap 4 holes. Now these aren't precision in any means. I just need 4 pins sticking up off of here, and I just screw in 4 shoulder bolts to act as a rotator. When the conveyor comes by, it'll grab one of those pins and actually rotate the part on its way by. And it just needs to rotate the part 90 degrees. Now these are cast iron. There's no machine surface anywhere to index off of. So we don't have a lot to work with. But like I say, this doesn't have to be a precision hole pattern, so we're not that concerned about it. As long as I hit somewhere in the middle of those dog bones there and have a fairly equal pattern, you know, hole to hole. If I'm within 10 thousandths or 15 thousandths on the hole patterns, I'm going to be really happy. So I'm just going to come up with a down and dirty fixture to drop these in. There's 45 of them to do. And, you know, how do you hold that? That thing's awful to hold. I mean, you can stick it in the mill vise this way and do the math and move the vise around, you know, or, you know, move the table around for each one, and I'm not into that. We're gonna get it done really quick. But here I'm gonna shoot a little video on work holding and work holding challenges. So here, stay tuned for that. All right, let's try our new fixture. Okay, do that 45 more times and we're done. Okay, and we're back, and that was just a down and dirty, get her done kind of drill and tap operation there. Like I say, nothing super precision, but we waxed that off pretty quick. There was 45 of those things to do, and we just wanted to blast it out. So, and then next up, there's the cardboard discs that you saw, or that one cardboard disc that was over the hook. Those, that was just a mock-up, but those are gonna get made out of 18 gauge galvanized steel, and they're gonna bolt to the hook. And then the bolt pattern, those are only 5/16 holes, but we're gonna drill or 5/16 threaded holes in that hook, and we're going to drill probably a 3/8 hole in the discs to give us some clearance and some slops, so we know they're going to line up when we go to put them together. Now those discs are there when the guy's painting the door in the spray booth. We don't want a bunch of overspray getting up all over the carrier. There's roller bearings in there. There's thrust bearings in there. So we don't want that getting pelted with overspray. So that disc is 11 inches round, and it's got a hole in the center for that pin in the middle of the hook. And then we did the 4-bolt pattern, so it's going to have a 4-bolt pattern around like this. And then the index pins, the rotating pins that go in there, they're just going to be a shoulder bolt. They're going to go through these holes, and they're going to attach the disc, and they're going to be sticking up above that disc for a rotator. And there'll be a rotator arm coming in that's fixed with a Delrin slide that as the part goes by, it'll grab it and flip the part. So I need 45 of those discs, and I'm going to the steel yard in the morning, pick up my material, and we're going to get them on the CNC plasma and just cut them out on the plasma table. And then that thing makes short work of them. I might shoot some video for next week to let you see that thing running, cutting out those discs, but it'll make short work of them. All right, well, that's everything for this week. I did nothing on angle squares. I haven't had any shop time to myself at all. It's all been work related. Haven't done any grinding work. I know we talked about Tom's 1, 2, 3 block and his squares. Haven't made any progress on those either. And Tom left a comment on my channel, said, as soon as I mailed your squares out, I missed them. Send them back, hurry. I'll get them back to you, buddy, I promise. Last but not least, I want you guys to have a good Memorial Day and enjoy your day off. But please remember why you're having a day off. This is not for all our veterans that came home to us. It's for the veterans that didn't come home to us. So honor them and have a good Memorial Day. All right? Talk to you later. Thanks for watching.